Ponytails. Read by Scribbler. Alone She Stood by Avox.
As she trudged back into the courtroom behind her lawyer post-lunch, I couldn't help but notice that the mare looked like hell. Her cerise mane, knotted and greasy, was reminiscent of a rat's nest. The brilliant mulberry coat that she'd inherited from her father now radiated a sickly pink. Eyes bloodshot, ears splayed, gaze trained on the floor. My heart almost went out to her. Almost. To be fair, the mare, Berry Punch, had just lost her only daughter. That had to sting, at least a little bit. As a stallion of barely 27 years, I couldn't completely empathize, though I did have a younger brother once, myself. I'd imagine that it was much the same, as terrible as it was to think about. This was neither the time nor the place for empathy, though. Especially not when I was the one being accused of murdering her 7-year-old filly. Fortunately for me, it was looking as though I'd be acquitted. The crime scene investigators had found her daughter's lifeless body at the bottom of a motel pool in the wee hours of the morning. Beyond that, they had absolutely nothing. 0 witnesses had come forward, and no substantive evidence had been uncovered. At this point, it was as good as her word against mine. Perhaps that was why she looked as though she hadn't slept in years. She was Ponyville's town drunk. I was a nuclear physicist. She'd had a foal without ever knowing the father's name. I had recently been elected treasurer of the Counterlot Committee for Energy Conservation. She left her daughter unsupervised at a motel swimming pool. I left work to return home and take care of my pregnant wife. Dishonest though it may be, I perfectly fit the bill of innocent victim of circumstance. She, on the other hoof, looked as though she were trying to play the court. With a sigh, I panned my gaze across the courtroom, silently gauging all the other ponies present. Princess Luna, who was presiding over the proceeding, shared a hushed, curt exchange with the guard's pony to her left, followed by a feeble sigh of her own. The panel of jurors, a variegated conglomerate of unicorns, pegasi, and earth ponies, sat stark still, almost unbreathing. The prosecution's lawyer, similarly to my own, sat there impatiently tapping her hooves. As far as she was concerned, this case was as good as closed. Shifting uncomfortably in my seat, I glanced down at the notes in front of me. In the 3.5 days of investigation, not much had been uncovered, despite the fact that the case was rapidly approaching its close. The whole endeavor had been very disorganized, and understandably so. In a nation as peaceful as Equestria, it was extremely rare that a court case as serious as this cropped up. My own lawyer informed me that this was the nation's first homicide case in over 85 years. Luna's voice cut through the courthouse like a knife through butter, jerking me from my stupor.
Prosecution, are you ready to provide your closing remarks?
Berry Punch let out a particularly loud sob.
Ahem.
Luna continued.
The defense? What say you?
My lawyer gestured to me, and I nodded, rising to my hooves. Your Honor, if I may? After seeing her nod in affirmation, I began. This mare and her late filly were already such a poor, helpless family before this catastrophe. They had more than enough problems to deal with. Why would someone be so cold as to deliberately make their life even more difficult? I figured it couldn't hurt to play the sympathy card, making the jury think that I felt bad for this mare despite her supposedly groundless assertions would paint me as sincere, which wouldn't hurt my chances. Personally, I don't believe any pony is capable of such evil, especially in a nation so pure and unified as Equestria. Upon seeing I was finished, Luna nodded once more and turned to the jury.
I do believe this concludes the proceedings.
There was a tinge of uncertainty in her voice. She turned to her aide for confirmation, who then shot her back a reassuring smile. After a moment, the foremare clambered to her hooves, and the rest of the jury followed suit. Slowly, they trotted out into the hall, headed off to some conference room in heaven knows where. I glanced over at Berry Punch. Between trying to wipe away her black mascara stains, she glared at me and hissed. I shouted a smirk in response. It was only a matter of minutes before the jury re-entered the courtroom. I personally decided to take that as a good sign. The crowd, however, broke out into whispers. Nervous utterances passed about in anticipation of the decision. Gavel met Oakwood, and the hushed murmuring ceased. A small echo bounced about the cavernous room before the pure, unadulterated emptiness took hold. Gently, Luna motioned for the foremare to speak. She took a deep breath and cleared her throat. Then,
"The jury finds Mr. Burian to be innocent of all charges."
Immediately, my lawyer gave me a hearty slap on the back, pulling my attention away from the quiet cheers echoing from somewhere behind me.
Congrats, my boy! Looks like you're home free.
All thanks to you, of course. He waved his hoof dismissively.
It was nothing, really.
With a wink, he added,
If anything, I should be thanking you for handing me such an easy case.
We shared a burst of laughter, and I wiped a stray tear from my eye. Once our laughter died down, a guard's pony trotted over to escort us back to the outside world. We fell in step behind him, the three of us strolling toward the exit of the courtroom. I shot Barry a crimson smile as I strutted by. Her daughter had been my third victim. What could I say? It was just far too simple to single out the easy targets. After all, who would believe a deadbeat drunk like her over someone charming and charismatic like me?
That was Alone She Stood by Avox. It was read by Scribbler with special guest voice actors BlackIrisBalloon as the narrator and WutenAiE as the voice of the lawyer. Okay, thank you very much for listening. As you can hear, this is a very echoey room, and as you may also be able to hear, I'm not alone.
I wasn't that loud, was I?
You're scratching your head. Well, that was supposed to be your cue to talk.
Yay!
Yeah, River Brony's still here. This is his last week in the UK.
Yeah, very sad. Sad pandas.
He goes home on Friday.
Yeah.
So he's here for this last end blurb.
As we're recording this, it's 2 more days?
Three
3
more days.
Yay! Extra day.
Our internet at the moment, we've gone from having a variable internet at our last cottage to having a rubbish one at this one.
It's consistently bad. I mean, we've continuously got it, but it's always so weak and unable to sustain anything. We tried to upload like a 60-second video to YouTube for a friend's birthday, and it took like 2 days to try to do.
Yep. And that was just leaving the laptop on the whole time. So, if this fic reading makes it out before Reverb is back in Australia, it'll be a friggin' miracle. But that is why this fic is late this week, why it wasn't out at the weekend like it would usually be. And we have a bit of a return to dark fickery this week from all the comedy and then sad fics.
Scary scaries.
Psychological scary. Best kind of scary. Well, Reverb is not a fan of horror. I bought a horror or audiobook and he refuses to listen to it in the car.
I've written some... I mean, music-wise, I love scary stuff. I've got some of the darkest, scariest songs on my iPod from some really messed up artists, and I like writing my own scary stuff as well. But yeah, stories and movies and stuff,
You're not hardcore enough. You're not hardcore enough.
Is that right?
That is right. Stop trying to tickle me while I'm on the microphone.
You've got a recording immunity while on the microphone, is that right?
Bubble of self-preservation, mate. You have to sleep sometime. Right, okay. So thank you very much to everybody who participated in this, especially BlackIrisBalloon, who took over narrator duties on this one. And I think he did a pretty good job at sounding quite threatening.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Which, since we met him at BronyCon, he's actually a really cuddly, lovely person.
He's such a cool person. I've got to chat to him more on Skype.
Yeah.
More Pokemon stuff. We're Pokemon rivals. He's a really cool guy, though.
This week, I have 2 pieces of fan art to show off. Yay! I was really surprised that there have been 2 that arrived while our internet has been a bit shit. The first one is a picture of my OC looking a bit sad. And this is by Lissy Dite. And she's done this beautiful one. She said it was her very first time using digital painting.
Wow, well, that's impressive, isn't it?
It really is. I love this. The colours seem so vibrant. I'm not entirely sure why I'm so sad. But I do love this art style as well, with the very long legs. And
very dark in the black background. It does seem very sort of sad and ominous and very deep emotions.
I like it.
It's very well done.
So thank you.
Looks rather chalk drawing-esque in a way. Not sure why.
I suppose so, yeah. With the little white highlights. Thank you very much to Lissy for that one.
Very
and then we have this one from a mutual friend. This is from Shattering.
Oh, Shattering's so cool.
Shattering is in this one. He's the one on the rocket. And this is, it's called Meeting the Main 6 Rainbow Dash. And it's Shattering, Lost Narrator, and myself. I apparently have been pulled along for this against my will by the looks of this. Showing Rainbow Dash how it's done.
You've got the best expression on your face there, though. It's so funny.
Yeah, I think that's how you do, oh my fucking god, why, in an expression. So I think it might be a little reference to the rocket at BronyCon, actually, because this was given to us immediately we came back from BronyCon. So thank you very much to Shattering for this one, because it is epically awesome. Thank you! And Rainbow Dash's expression of, what the fuck, what? Or the G-rated version of what the fuck.
It's a very good picture.
Thank
very
you!
Pretty. Love his expressions in his pictures.
He is a very, very good artist at sort of super chibi expressions.
Yes, and sort of over the top.
Right, in an effort to keep this recording as short as possible so that the upload does happen this side of the next millennium.
Yeah.
I'm going to say thank you very much to all of my patrons from Patreon. They've been very patient with us because we've been trying to do Skype calls this week.
Oh, yeah, no, they've been so tough, haven't they? We managed to get 1.
Yeah, we've tried to do 8 in a week and we got 1.
We've tried to do a couple and, yeah, it's been very tough and very hard and lots of dropping out and internet failures and all that sort of stuff. And it's been tricky.
So thank you very much for your patience, guys. And thank you especially has to go to Limey Pony,
Ian Jensen,
Shining Tevos Star,
Marcus,
Stephen Knight,
The One Ryu,
Mystic Mystery,
Andrew,
Xena,
Starlight Stream,
Mad Curse,
Thought Police and Spies,
Ask Nightmare Luna,
Ilya Leonov,
Peregrine Caged, who is the author of Al Niente,
ooh, very nice, very impressive, Corpulent Brony,
Houston Russell,
Sturdy Solace,
Norman,
Scout Charger,
and Klaus Hyde. Thank you very much to everybody. Your support is eternally, I'm very grateful for it.
Yes, and so is Suki.
Yeah, Reverb went and saw Suki this week. She's been quite poorly. We didn't realise until last Sunday that...
That's right, she had a problem with her insulin. Because insulin's got to be kept at a certain temperature, which is very, very specific and very hard to keep. And
it has to be kept in the fridge.
Yeah, it has to be kept in the fridge. And there's no way of knowing if something has happened to it before you were given it. So
yeah, we get it from the vet and we didn't know that apparently somebody left it out of the fridge for a substantial amount of time because it was no longer active insulin.
Before you guys were given it.
Yeah, so for 10 or more days, Suki was receiving 2 doses of insulin a day that were doing bugger all. And she lost 11 pounds in a week. And she was very, very poorly.
It was very scary how quickly she declined through that. And it was...
And we were away. We didn't know until last Sunday when she was starting to get a bit better because they discovered what was going on, my parents. And it was terrifying how fast she declined. But we saw her and she's a bit on the mend. She's lost a lot of weight. She's on the last notch on her collar now. And she's looking a bit bony. But we're doing our best we can.
Yes, and it was... got her back on the proper insulin, thank God. And what was really, really good is that she started coming back up really quite quickly, which was such a relief because of how fast she declined. We were a bit worried that there might have been some sort of permanent damage there, but it looks like she's safely back on the mend and that she will be better with her regular doses of proper insulin again, and was bouncing about and full of energy again. So
thank you very much to everybody for helping to allow us to be able to purchase good insulin.
Yeah. If there's any ever doubt of whether she needs it or not,
this week was the proof.
Oh, absolutely. It was very scary.
So thank you to everybody. We're going to have to go now, because otherwise this end blurb is going to be longer than the actual reading.
Yes.
So be lovely to each other, and...
Good night, everybody.